What if you could create your first AI app in under 30 minutes with no coding experience needed? Sounds impossible, right? Today, we're going to be making it happen with Replit agents. And to make it even better, we've brought Dan Perry, an expert in AI and automation and no code, to guide us through the process. Make sure you stick around because you'll see exactly how to turn a real business idea into a working app in record time. Replit agents are changing the way we think about building apps. Whether you're a small business owner, a creator, or just curious about AI, this is a great gateway to building functional AI apps that can help real businesses thrive. To see the full video in the live stream, click the link down below. Step 1, what are Replit agents?
So Replit is an online IDE, which is basically a programming environment that allows developers to be able to build software. Of late, the AI space has moved on so fast that they have basically allowed you to be able to use AI firstly in your code to be able to like interact with your code, create code and generate code. But then they recently added this feature called agents. And the Replit agent is effectively a AI pair programmer and product manager that will take an idea that you have via text prompts that you put in or images, and then allow you to be able to build that piece of software out, and then show you. It will, while it's building it out, it will like check the errors. It will save at certain points. It will ask you some questions, follow-up questions, get you to put in like your secret keys if you're using something like OpenAI, if you want to use AI and stuff. And the whole environment of the software with the agents, with the AI, makes it really beginner friendly for people that don't know how to code. And yeah, it's just a really powerful platform to be able to build something that you couldn't have built or may not have built, or even just throw away things. So like before with software, the cost of it, upfront cost, whether it's time, emotions, feels, like just testing, like it takes some time. And same thing with no code, right? Like no code takes some time, code takes some time. But the quicker that you're able to like get a sense of if your thing is a thing, and if your thing is a like a thing that your customers or users will want, if you're trying to get paid, or if a thing that you want to help your community with, if it works and if it's good, the quicker you can get that sense of a vibe, the more likely it is that you'll be able to like continue it or just throw it away, and you haven't spent that much time and you've probably learned something. And that's the key thing, is like you want to use these tools also just to kind of learn how software works.
What are some use cases? Well, you could do customer support, lead generation, or automating repetitive tasks in your business. Whatever you want to create, bottom line, write it down, think about it, and you can create your own application using Replit agents. Let's talk about common challenges and solutions. Beginners might face challenges like setting up integrations or ensuring smooth workflows. But that's the greatest thing about AI agents. You just chat with it, and that's going to be your solution to be able to progress with building your own idea. It just takes iteration. Now, we asked our audience for app ideas, and here's one of them. I've been testing many AI tools and now want to use TextApp to get more prototypes built, starting with the wellness coaching app. Now that we have an example, let's dive into creating this app step by step.
I'm in the wellness space and I have a wellness business, and I want to build 3 different potential prototypes that could generate some money really quickly based on like pressing problems that my customers may have. Could you give me 3 short ideas that you think would be great to build? Claude is in concise mode, and I don't trust that. I think there are too many people using it, so I'll just put it into ChatGPT. I'll even put it into O1 mode because we want to keep it current and powerful. So, yeah. So it's giving me some ideas. I didn't mention that they would be apps. So let's say I want to build apps. I want them to be MVPs. Yep, cool. MVPs of apps. Again, let's just see what it does. It's thinking. Cool. So it's given me 3 different ideas. So a personalized stress relief app, and these are the core features. So questionnaires, guided audio meditations, sleep hygiene coach app idea, like sleep tip of the day, basic diaries. So these are all features. A wellness consultation app. So I'm like, cool, okay. Which one of these solves the biggest problem? Yeah, let's just say. So now basically using ChatGPT as a consultant, thinking through things.
Dan, Mr. Hackathon asks, how are you doing the voice to text thing?
Oh yeah, so Whisperflow is the tool. And yeah, I think Doc, you're gonna need to put it into the chat and let people know. So cool. So it says this sleep hygiene coach app. Could you write a prompt for this app and really make it a tiny MVP? Not that many features, but like super high value that I could build quickly and generate some money. It needs to solve a real problem. Yeah, cool. Let's just say, and I normally go a little bit deeper. Sometimes I go get it to browse the web just to make sure that there's something here. But now I've got like a much more like detailed kind of like prompt. So rather than the random laundromat prompt that I used, like I've actually got like a number of different features up here. It's even given me a monetization strategy and some random things here. So like I could copy that. Actually say, could you turn this into like a product requirement doc? And also have some like light directions on like designs and things that it needs to have to make it look good and make money. So product requirement doc is basically the specifications of your product to help your development team or AI developers be able to do things. ChatGPT 01 is really fast now. This is incredible. Cool. So I'm not going to read that. I probably don't even need that rough timeline stuff, but let's copy from here and go all the way to, so now I've got this. And then if I go to here, and now I've just pasted the product requirement doc in there. And now you should read it and make sure that it's the thing that it's generated is fine. You could again interrogate it, ask it questions. Things I like to do is like say like, is this actually solving a real problem? Can I make this even tighter as a MVP? Because you don't want too many features when you're building things, because you actually want to again get feedback, see if you can get people to pay for it. The more features you have, the more chances that there's going to be bugs. It's going to be like a nightmare. So like you really want to make sure that you're building the smallest thing that is the highest value thing that your customers care about, that they will pay for. And then you can start adding new features from there. But I didn't do that this time. But then I'm going to press the create Replit, I like to call the, I don't know, it was based off of Sam Altman's post that he wrote, where he spoke about like AI being like magic sand. Because it's based on like the chips and like you're basically speaking to like speaking to this tool that could just do anything. And I really like the idea of like talking to the magic sand gods and getting them to make things for me. But yeah, it's read my probably terrible product requirement doc, but it was based on some idea that it was solving a problem, and it wasn't just like the first thing that I thought about when I put it into Replit, like with the laundromat thing. Yeah, will help create a sleep habit buddy using React and Express. It's giving me some things to add. Again, the more things that you add, the more complexity it has, the more chance there is to go wrong. So, but sometimes they're really nice. Then if I just go to approve and start, and now it's using the product requirement doc, it's probably like re-prompted the doc to turn it into a format that it understands. It has a plan and some steps. It's now doing stuff. And And part of the magic of this is that like you don't know what it's doing, and it might come out with something pretty magical and crazy. But the fact that it's based off of the product requirement doc means that like it's got some element of structure to it. We didn't just give it something super loose so we can just do more what it wants. Like, I guess if I were to put this prompt in again, it would probably build something similar again. Whereas if I wrote with the laundromat idea, it could have just done anything. So you want to be vague enough to be able to let the magic happen, potentially, but you want to be strict enough to be able to be like, cool, like I need this to solve a real business problem that I have. Or, for example, if you're just building something that you want it to be fun, like I'm building this for fun for my user or customer. So like making sure that the purpose that you're building the product for is in there is key. I find.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great stuff. People, first of all, WP Minute tutorials talking about Magic Sand Gods sounds scary.
Yeah, they are. Like they are. They really are. Like,
I love it.
Like,
Also, too, Mr. Akathon said Replit versus Bolt versus Cursor versus V0. Dan, are you paying a user for Replit? So those are two major things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I pay for many of the tools. So I pay for Replit. I pay for Claude. Claude is really good with the Claude artifacts. Like if I want to just prototype an idea, just to like, I'll have chats with Claude, figure out what I want this thing to look like, and then get it to create an artifact, just for me to get a sense of like, oh, okay, cool. Like this thing feels like a thing. Or like when I look at it, I'm like, oh, actually, like I don't really want to even work on this. It's a really good way for me to just to get a sense check and a vibe. I'd pay for ChatGPT as well. And so recently we got the full O1 model. So I've just been messing around and playing with that. But I feel like GPT-4 is still really good at some things. Claude is a lot better at other things. What else do I pay for?
Could you talk about V0, how you use V0?
Oh, yeah. So I use V0 just to kind of like get an idea of like what an interface might look like, or an idea that I might have. So like, for example, if I go to V0 right now, so this was an idea that I was working on this morning. But if I go to new chat and, I've only got 2 messages remaining today. I pay for the, I don't pay for that, but let's just put the same prompt in that I put into Replit and press paste, and then it will generate a, let's move my Grammarly out of the way. Let's put Grammarly. So V0 is getting even more powerful of late, but basically it's a tool that allows you to be able to build interfaces to your product. It generates code for you, but it's got a load of new features recently. Like even just being able to have the file structure is new, being able to fork the code, fork it. So you can have different branches of the things that you're building. You can even deploy it to Vercel. You can connect it to some databases. So it's a bit like Replit-ish, but yeah, I mainly use it for interfaces. But yeah, it's just built this thing. And again, I don't really know what this thing is because I didn't read the document, but it feels like, oh yeah, so it seems like, yeah, currently just tracking my sleep. But let's go back to Replit.
Oh, and one last thing too. Oh, it's already done. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Let's go Dan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Famous passwords. Oh, I need to register. So yeah, cool. Have an account, log in. So let's say, I don't want to save it. Oh, cool. So again, one of the weird things about these tools is that like, I didn't even know what this thing does. Because like mostly like, say if you were building something with a developer, like you might have seen the UX, you might have seen some of the UI, like you might know what this thing is supposed to do or look like. But I just explained a bunch of things to this tool and now it's built something. And I'm now having to like explore my own idea to see if it does a thing. But yeah, how would you describe it? Good. My sleep, let's say pretty good. Cool. cool. And now I can see that there seems to be an error here, but yeah, but that's because I hadn't finished doing everything that I was supposed to do. So it's, for example, with the chat, it asks you, it consistently does a thing, usually references like human in the loop, where it's asking you, okay, cool, like, can you get into the login screen? So before it said, can you see the login screen with the options? Does it have the fields to enter? I've obviously gone too far, but I'm like, yeah, I can. Great job.
So Dan, we have a couple questions, and I want to put in one comment before we go to these questions. These are great. And if everyone likes this and you want us to do this again, let us know. But this is, people are saying they're learning all this stuff. Thank you so much for all being here. You know, like Dan was saying about the idea for wellness, and TopCat, if you're looking at this, remember too, if you already have a wellness business and you're making money, talk to your existing customers of what do they need? Because if you're already having customers that are loyal or ones that are keep coming back to you, having an application that keeps solving their problem is going to get you a lot closer to more money and expanding. Then a very unique idea could be interesting to explore, but keep in mind that might not align with your target audience or align with the market right now. Now, your insights and all that you have, it's possible that this unique thing is going to be a game changer, but really remember, work on these things with intention and with data, because it is so easy with these tools to go off the rails.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, as you're playing with these tools, like, it will suggest new features, suggest new things, and you're like, oh, that sounds good. But like, if you root your idea based on, and this is again, if you're trying to do it to make some money or generate some revenue, we've got some other goals. Like, if your goal is to make some money, then the way that I would think about this is, okay, cool. Like, if I've got 100 customers and I can identify, say like 5 or 10 of my best customers, and I don't know how you would define what those best are. Maybe they pay loads, maybe they keep coming back, maybe they rave about you. But if you can identify those 10 customers and figure out, hey, like, is there a problem that you can solve that could help you generate, solve their problem, and they would pay more? Is there, for your business, like, is there something that would, if you want to try and grow your business, then understanding why your customers are staying or why they are coming in the first place will help you figure out what you need to do that software would help solve. So like, basing it on the problem, like, okay, cool. Like, if, for example, you're like, oh, retention is low, then okay, let me understand why retention is low. And then, is there something that I can do to like keep retention? Maybe it's like, oh, you need to send reminders. Maybe there's like, oh, there's like an issue with bookings or calendars and people forget. Maybe they like, you want to understand what the root cause of the problem is. Are people kind of like not really understanding what your offering is? Maybe actually you should build a bot to help educate people so that they understand why your business is the right thing for them. Like, having a clear goal and having customers is like the key, because like, most people don't have customers. So like, having customers is actually a gold mine of information that you can use to then determine what your thing should be that you could build to solve that business goal of yours. So yeah, anchoring it on evidence and truth is a game changer. And because they are your customers as well, your product will be like focused, which is always key. I am a very unfocused individual, so I use tools to help me. But
I love it. I love it. Real quick, this is, and thank you guys. If anyone wants to, if you want us to do this again, Dan is awesome. This is why I love Dan. I'm like, Dan, you need to do this. Like, we have a mastermind, but I'm like, no, Dan, like, people need to see what you're doing because you're brilliant, and it's a great thing. So we're going to, by the way, we'll give out a shout to Dan and how you can contact, paying only. but there's one last question I think is really important. And maybe we'll talk about it next time. But Mr. Hackathon says, can the Magic Sand Gods market for us? Are you connecting Superbase or any database? Sorry for all the questions, Dr. Student, of both of you. Yeah, no. Could you talk about the database and how it's going about when you're using Replit?
So Replit has a SQL database that it can connect to. So you can use the database in there if you don't want to like mess around with database stuff. I'm going to be learning how to use Superbase because I've heard really good things about it, and I just want to learn it. They've recently released an AI assistant as well to be able to help you figure out how to do stuff, because I don't know how to write SQL and queries and stuff. Like, it looks like an alien language, but being able to speak the alien language by writing English and getting someone else, one of the magic sand gods, to translate for you is key. But you can also connect it to Firebase as well. But with Replit, it has a SQL database like in there, so you can just kind of mess around there if you want to get up and running really quickly. I recommend, well, again, depending on your goal, but like if your goal is to build something quickly, then just use the databases that they've got in there. If you want to, and the reason why you might want to build quickly is because actually you're trying to determine whether the thing that you have has any value. You're not trying to build the best thing yet. You're just trying to determine if the thing you have has any value. Does it solve a real problem? Will people pay for this thing? Then just build it with that, and then you can just press the deploy button on Replit. What will usually happen is you'll get a whole bunch of errors, which is usual and standard. You basically just take a screenshot of the errors, put it in there, and just say, "Hey, man, please fix this," and then it will iterate on itself until it fixes some of those things. Again, the more complexity you have in your product, the more chance that there will be errors, and the more complexity that you have may not actually be solving your customers' problems. So that's why you want to start with something super minimal to ensure that you are actually building something. Like if you're hearing from your potential customers or the market saying that actually, I really need this feature, or I really need that, or it doesn't have this, then if you're hearing it enough times, then you can just add it again with a prompt. But you don't want to be like adding a whole bunch of stuff, because the chance for it to kind of like fracture into like a really complex thing that you may not know how to maintain is high.
I love it. Well, guys, remember, if you like this kind of content, make sure that you like and subscribe. We do this every single week. We're going to try to convince Dan to come back very soon to talk about this, because this really is an inflection point. There are so many great things happening in the world, and we want more content like this that will explore how to practically use this, not just hype of, hey, you'll make $4 million next week. No, you can do this with your practical skills and doing it with planning right now. Dan, where can the good people find you at, and what should they be doing for your paid services?
You can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter at Yodan Parry. I am endeavoring to act a bit more like Doc, so you'll hopefully see me more on the internet. Just reach out to me there and we can have a chat if you'd like. Looking forward to it. But the key thing that I would say as well is these tools are magical, and it feels like you're doing stuff by just writing into these AI platforms, but actually you want to be making sure that you are actually shipping in the real world. You can enter into this state of just like feeling like you're doing stuff, and I've been there. Like, this is no shade to anyone, like I am there. And actually you want to be making sure that you are shipping, putting stuff out into the world to learn from your customers, to make sure that you are building the right thing. But it's also like, you should also just be messing around and exploring and seeing how these tools work, because each of them has a different vibe, and they're almost like different people. And that's why I go to some tools for one thing, some tools for other things. Learn from one thing, put it into another, and then experiment just to see if it does stuff. But yeah, I think it's practicing this whole getting a vibe for these tools, because this is the best time. Like this is the best time. I remember when Glide came out and I was like, oh my God, I'm able to build an app from a Google Sheet. Like, I thought that my whole world is different, and it was. And then I slowly learned some of these other tools like Softr and Bubble. And I was like, oh my God, like I can build software. Like I build AI apps now. And then now with these tools, you can build things that are so magical, but you want to make sure that they are, if this is your goal, if you want to make money, then they're grounded on some sort of business truth. But yeah, it's a fantastic time. I'm excited for all of you.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. All the links for Dan and getting in touch. Remember, inquiries, because he does paid consulting. This is not just hey, come to get me.
Yeah, my thing is, like, I'm super busy, so I'm like, I could either be spending time on my own business, which I probably should spend more time on, or exploring these tools. But yeah, I just also love chatting to people. So let's see.
In under 30 minutes, we've built out a functional AI app using Replit agents, transforming the idea into a real-world solution. This is just the beginning. With Replit, the possibilities of creating AI-powered apps are endless. In the comments section down below, let me know, what should we build next? What are you trying to learn? Are you trying to learn using Bolt, Lovable, or you want more advanced tutorials using Replit? Let us know.